now we're going to be talking about the E-Levy, the E-Levy tax on electronic transactions, which was introduced a couple of years ago. It's still something that we talk about daily after electronic transactions. And we're joined in the studio this morning by Opoku Efriye Asante, Senior Revenue Officer, E-Levy Technical Committee, and Isaac Kobna Amwako, Chief Revenue Officer, E-Levy Technical Committee. And they're here to answer all our questions about the E-Levy, especially following the internet blackout, and also clarify all concerns that we might have. Gentlemen, you're welcome.
Thank you very much for having us.
Are you getting any feedback on how the E-Levy deductions have gone on since the internet blackout?
Yes.
Okay.
So the way the platform had been built, it's been built in such a way that it shouldn't cause distraction to operations of these charging entities. So there's an agreement between the charging entities on how to implement the E-Levy. So the agreement is that once you are unable to reach the E-Levy platform, do not stop your operations. Charge the customer, proceed, and then
You're
come back.
talking about from the back end?
From the back end. This is a back end kind of an
So as a
agreement.
consumer, I wouldn't know this?
You wouldn't know this, yeah.
Okay.
A consumer wouldn't know this. So the platform is that if you can't get to the platform, charge the customer, move ahead. Then once the customer is done with the transaction, come and reconcile. Once you do the reconciliation successfully, if the customer should not have been charged, refund the money to the customer and close the transaction.
Does that ever happen?
Yes, that does happen intermittently. But on the 14th of March, when we had a nationwide internet blackout, it then became widespread. So it does happen from the back end. We occasionally receive feedback where customers have been charged, and we go and check, and it's wrongful deduction. Then we try to reverse and get the customers to get their money back. But then, because of 14th of March, the blackout, the scale was higher.
I see. Now, we don't like the E-Levy. I think I don't speak for myself only, but we have come to accept it, and the deductions have been going on since the implementation. After a while, it seemed that some of the transactions that were not supposed to, the E-Levy was not supposed to affect, began to be deducted as well. So, for example, transactions under 100 Ghana cedis are not supposed to be affected by the E-Levy. Is that correct?
Okay, so let me clarify this.
Okay.
It is not, the point is that if you have a daily limit of 100 cedis.
Okay.
So that means that you can send money up to 100 cedis wherever, regardless of which network that you are on. So if you send 50 cedis from MTN today, and then you decide to send 50 cedis from Telecel, you would have exhausted your 100 cedis limit for the day. So if you proceed to send another 50 cedis, which is below 100 cedis, you'll be deducted. So I think it's more of a clarity of whether or not people understand the meaning of the 100 cedis exemptions. So from that perspective...
So it doesn't matter if you're sending it from different numbers.
Exactly. So if you send 2 cedis and then you've already exhausted your 100 cedis daily limit for the day, you will be charged the levy.
Tell us exactly which transactions are affected by the E-Levy.
So when you move funds from a mobile money network from one platform to another platform, it is in scope of the levy. When you move funds from a bank account to the mobile money wallet, it is also in scope. And then the reverse is also applicable. When you move from a mobile money wallet to a bank account, it is also applicable. And then bank-to-bank transfers are also in scope. However, there are exemptions within some of these transactions. So, for example, the same person transfers. When I move money from my account, whether it's a bank account or a mobile money wallet, so long as the receiving wallet or destination account belongs to me, you are not supposed to be charged. If there is a charge, then as Isaac mentioned earlier on, there may be a technical challenge. But what we've noticed over a period is that these charges have to do with the Ghana card. If your Ghana card PIN is missing in the process where you move funds from a mobile money wallet to a bank, if there's no identity, that is the Ghana card behind that transaction, then the system wouldn't recognize that you are the same person moving funds between your accounts. So you will be charged.
I've heard complaints about people with their Ghana card who transfer money from their bank accounts to their mobile money wallet, and they're still deducted. this means that there's a problem.
Yes.
Let me
who will
explain
rectify that problem?
for you. So what we've noticed is that chances are that one of the institutions involved, because there's always going to be two institutions, either your telco or your bank. One of them has definitely not updated your Ghana card.
Okay.
Always, 100% of the time, one of them hasn't done the
So
correct thing.
it's a check that you must, I must go to the bank to check that.
You must complain to either all the two parties or one of them.
Okay.
And then they will refer it to
Figure
the
out
GRA.
what exactly is going on. How about if you transfer money from one mobile money wallet to another, bearing the same Ghana card?
You're
Yes, you're not supposed
You're
to be
not
charged.
supposed to be charged.
It's
All
the
right.
same thing.
Aside transactions which are exempt from Ghana card transactions, are there individuals who are exempt from, E-Levy transactions as well?
There's no entity or an individual who is exempt from the E-Levy. So when you look at the Act, it is the exemptions is granted depending on the type of transfer or the type of transaction.
Okay.
Yeah, so for example, we have what we call the specified merchant payment. If you are making payment to a merchant, a business owner who is registered with the GRA for income tax or VAT, that transfer you are making to that merchant will not suffer the E-Levy. So
Okay.
that's a type of transaction. Now, if a company who owns a corporate bank account decides to make disbursements to its employees, because the corporate bank account is making a transfer to its employees, and the employees also have bank accounts, that transaction is not chargeable for that matter. But if that same corporate entity decides to disburse funds to a mobile money wallet where their employees have mobile money wallets, then that same transaction now becomes chargeable. So you do not have a specific person, or there's no specific person who,
Or entity.
yes, who is exempt from the E-Levy.
It's more the nature of
It's the nature
transaction.
of the transaction that
see.
determines whether or not E-Levy is
It's a little
applicable.
complicated, just a little bit.
Yes.
I remember seeing a press release recently from the GRA trying to straighten out some issues with the E-Levy. Can you explain exactly what it was?
Okay. So that has to do with the internet blackout.
That was the internet blackout.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
that was the internet blackout. So as I alluded earlier, behind the scenes, if you can't access the platform, charge the customer, but take time, try reconnecting to the platform. Once you are successful, you can do the reconciliation same day, and then you return the customer's money to the person, and then you close the account. Unfortunately, I can say none of our partners have implemented the E-Levy this manner, where when you can't reach the platform, you don't stop. You keep retrying until you are successful, and then you return the customer's money to them. Once they process the transaction, they go to lie, and they don't do anything until the customer come and complain to GRA that I have been deducted an amount of money, and I know from the law that I'm not supposed to have been charged.
So your people are not doing their work?
It's not, we won't say our people are not doing, taxation is about compliance. Everybody within the chain has to comply.
Okay.
And so we anytime you are sending money, there are two parties involved, the sending account, the receiving account. If one of them hasn't done the right thing, the entire system is affected.
I'm the client, all right? And so if one of us hasn't done the right thing, normally, you have charged me, right? And so if you haven't rectified the problem when there's a problem, then the one of us who hasn't done the right thing is you. Is that correct?
So you've not identified all the parties correctly.
Okay.
There's a customer.
There are more than two parties.
Good. There's a customer,
Okay.
so you count one.
That's me.
That's you.
Okay.
Then there is where you want to send the money from and where you want the money to go and sit.
Okay.
So it's either a bank and a telco. So I get two other parties plus you. I get three.
Okay.
Then there's GRA. That makes us
That's
four.
Okay.
Good. GRA, I would say we take a backstage kind of approach where we've provided a platform. The platform is digital, autonomous, no human intervention. The middle party, sender and receiver, please do the right thing, and then you get to enjoy. Now, if one of them doesn't go by the rules, then you suffer. Now, when you suffer, we wouldn't be privy to the fact that you've suffered.
Unless I come and complain
Unless
to
you
you.
complain, or unless I'm doing my compliance check and I see non-compliance, then I can come in and help. And most of the time, that's what happens. The customer will come, put a complaint to GRA. we go through the logs and we realize that one of the parties is not doing the right thing. Then we
So
go
complaints
after
come to GRA and not to the telco or to the bank?
Our guideline says that when you are affected, GRA is not the first point of call.
Okay.
The first point of call is where the money got deducted.
All
So
right.
if it is as your telco, that's the first point of call. If it's the
Okay.
bank, that's the first point of call.
Okay. How much money have you raised or generated from deducting and collecting the e-levy from over the last couple of years?
So for the period 2022 in GRA's annual report, we recorded 643 million.
643
million for 2022.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was for 2022. Now for 2023, the Honorable Minister for Finance has indicated that the collections was about 1.19 billion for 2023. So if you add 643 million to 1.19 billion, you know how much we've collected since we started implementing the e-levy.
You were to recoup 6 billion, isn't it?
Initially,
That was the expectation.
6.9. The initial target was 6.9. It was revised to 4.5, and then it was revised downwards to 800 or so. But then because at that time, we hadn't factored in the quantum of exemptions. You know, the e-levy comes with exemptions. At that time, when the target was being set, we hadn't accounted for the quantum of exemptions. That's why.
Why is that? Why were the exemptions not accounted for at the time the target was being set?
Okay, so you realize that the budget statement went ahead of the bill being passed into law. So at the time the bill was being passed, that was when the exemptions were being considered.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see. Well, this has been nice. There's so much more I want to ask, and I see a lot of questions coming in from viewers. Unfortunately, our time is up, and we have to wrap this up. Can we talk again soon?
Sure.
Okay,
We are always available.
Thank you.
Thank you very
so
much.
much. I've been talking to Opoku Efriye Asante, Senior Revenue Officer, E-Levy Technical Team, and Isaac Kobina Amwaku, Chief Revenue Officer, E-Levy Technical Committee. You're watching TV3 New Day. We still have more conversations for you on the show this morning. Stay tuned.